Are you a pro wrestling fan? Then odds are at some point in your life, you were a backyard wrestler. In this new series, I'm going to take you through how we came from this to this. It's a long story, covering nearly 2 decades. But if you're a nostalgic person missing the backyard days of yesteryear and a simpler time of the 90s and early 2000s, this is the story for you. This is Backyard Wrestling Cinema. Welcome to Backyard Wrestling Cinema Season 2, Episode 8. On our last episode, we covered our first episode after our pay-per-view Dead End, and we began initiating a number of the members of the BWL, the Budget Wrestling League, the group that was invading our company, Brookwood 4 Wrestling. And we began signing them to contracts. We introduced the new High Rollers, which consisted of Cobain, Mumbles, and Mr. Benjamins, but didn't include original High Roller member TJ Money. Needless to say, that didn't sit well with TJ Money, and that was the first segment that led off the show.
How? What's wrong? Are you gonna have the High Rollers without one of the founders, TJ Money?
TJ Money would wrestle me as my character Denver Street for the right to win a contract.
TJ has a headlock, taking up her hand on Denver. Denver throwing him off the rope. Oh, shoulder block.
And you already know where this is going. He wins.
Denver looks bloody. Oh, TJ locking in his finisher. Roll the dice. Could this be it? 1, 2, 3, and your winner and new contractual person in the B4W.
And he's now a member of the B4W roster. One of his sticking points was that he wanted a United States title shot now that he was a member of the roster. Our next match was also for a contract. It was Tim the Enforcer versus Cobain.
The business locking up with a stoop slam by the Enforcer.
In a match where Tim the Enforcer was basically just picking up and slamming Cobain the entire time.
Done by the Enforcer. Oh! Back body drop! Here we go! Oh my, the elephant finisher! That raises that neck back. Oh! We just saw it! That's the final. Even the finish involved Tim picking up Cobain and dropping him onto himself to cost himself the match. Oh, Cobain reversing it in midair. 1, 2, 3, and Cobain is your winner. And now Cobain was officially signed to a B4W contract. Our 2 most unpopular wrestlers at the time were TLD and Dynamic Danny. And they wrestled next in a match where we didn't really care who won. I'll start quickly here.
It was the typical Dynamic Danny match. If you've been following this series along, you know that his gimmick was that he hits people as hard as he possibly can, and then he ran away trying to avoid being hit at all. And that was 100% a shoot.
Oh, to return. What you got? Oh, just hitting his back.
Dynamic Danny would lose to TLD. So it only made sense that TLD would then get a shot at our main championship, the Unified title, when he took on Rico DMF. Obviously, Rico DMF got the win here.
Set up for the free fall. Good night. That's it. 1, 2, 3.
As I mentioned before, TJ Money wanted a shot at the United States title, but so did his former tag team partner, Mr. Benjamins.
That I'm supposed to get. I want a United States title shot at the pay-per-view. If anybody's got a problem with it, see what's a problem. Tell me your problem. I want a shot at the U.S. title at the pay-per-view. Now, I'm thinking, I'm a smart man. Why don't you and me have a single match right now, right here, tonight, this show. Whoever wins has a shot at the U.S. title.
So they fought with the winner getting a United States title shot.
The Olympic slam! Oh my God!
Benjamins won.
Oh my God! These men need business! Let's start out here. Oh, God! The 1, 2, 3, and you're winner!
And post-match, we showed that these guys were still a team. our very next show, and the reason I'm covering 2 shows is there's some of these episodes where just not enough happened, so I'm going to cover more than one show to get a full episode here. The next show, Dynamic Danny came up to Mac and Cheese, which is myself and Tommy Thunder.
Look who we got here. We got Denver Street, and we got United States B4W champion, Tommy Thunder. I tell you what, Denver, I forget what you did to me at that, what was that? What was it, just a regular show with you and Big Buff and that Spencer? What was it? I don't even know. Commissionership.
And you can clearly see that we are so sick of this guy because we are not that good of actors. But truth be told, at this point, Dynamic Danny was starting to kind of be funny on the show because it was kind of this joke between all of us where he just would run away from everybody, too afraid to get hit. Plus, he was also now starting to play his character more goofy at the urging of myself and others. And he was actually pretty funny in doing so. Mumbles versus TLD for the hardcore title was up next, and it was one of those first kind of hardcore brawl all over the arena matches we did for the hardcore title. Over the years, the hardcore title would alternate between being a comedy title and a brawling all over the place title, and this was one of the first matches that really showcased that brawling all over the place kind of style. There had been matches that had done it before, but this is the one that really stands out for me.
The garbage can here. We're gonna cover 1, 2.
And Mumbles would retain the championship in this one.
Please end it here. Oh, almost dropped right into the right bosom. Red booby. Oh, 1, 2, 3, and 2. You are your champion, AJ Bumblebee.
Our next match was for the Star of Tomorrow trophy. It was Slug versus Dynamic Danny. 2 kids known as the PR Kids, which stood for the Punk Rock Kids, made their debut, and they were friends of Dynamic Danny, and he vouched for them, and we should have known better based on who was vouching for them. Now, it should be noted that the Punk Rock Kids' entrance music was actually emo, so the whole thing was just confusing.
And destroying. Oh, Tina Sales Aerodynamic of 1, 2, 3, and your winner, the Dynamic One, Dynamic Danny. Cool. 3 men.
And Slug lost that one, giving Dynamic Danny one of his first wins in the B4W and making him the Star of Tomorrow. But hey, 1 loss wasn't good enough for the Slug. He had to make it 2. So he took on Tommy Thunder for the United States title, and you betcha he got his 2nd loss.
Oh, with the TKO. 1, 2, 3, and your winner.
The PR Kids would turn on Dynamic Danny because why the f not?
Because you hit off. Oh, there goes Impact, I think his name. And the PR Kids just starting to lay out the Dynamic One. Pay them off, I guess. They're not very sincere.
And then myself and Tommy Thunder would eventually lay out the PR Kids because why the f not?
That was right, Tommy.
Now, Tommy Thunder would defend the United States title against TJ Money. Now, you might be wondering, well, didn't Mr. Benjamins earn a United States title shot? I don't know. I don't remember. It's very possible that we're missing an episode in between this one and the last one. Over the years, we've definitely lost some tapes. For all I know, Mr. Benjamins never got that United States title shot, or we were saving it for our next pay-per-view.
What are we going to see here? Oh, my God!
Either way, Tommy Thunder retained the United States title against TJ Money.
Thunder shimmy. Oh! Super kick right to the face of Tommy Thunder. Looks like oh! The owner now getting involved, putting his own stuff into play. 1, 2, 3.
And we ended the show with a promo from Rico DMF, who at the time was the unified champion. And we almost never ended a show with a promo. As far as I know, this might have been the first and only time I ever did that. I certainly don't do it professionally, and I don't recall doing it ever again. And I guess we'll find out if I did along this series, but the idea was to make Rico this big attraction, make him our featured player. And truth be told, we probably could have done a better job of it. It probably could have been him being on the show a little bit more instead of rarely showing him, because if you look at these shows, I'm all over them, Tommy Thunder's all over them, and that just led to resentment from the rest of the roster. Everybody wanted to be on the show as much as possible, and the fact that the 2 guys essentially running the show meant we got the heat.
I don't plan on losing again. So, you may have beaten me, but you haven't really faced the man with the title on the line. I had my spot in the BWL on the line. Come to pay-per-view at Repercussion, you'll be facing the unified champion, the legend that has just started, Rico DMS.
The card was forming for our next pay-per-view, and over the next several weeks we would add more and more matches to it. Unlike our first pay-per-view, it wouldn't just include 3 main matches. We would try to feature the entire roster a little bit more as we filled out and became a bigger show every single week. The ball was rolling, and we were doing everything we could to build our audience and build our show into exactly what we wanted it to be.
Wait, you got a little surprise here. Do we have a match? No. So, with the new high roads, the new and improved high roads, we got Cobain over here with his googly self. And we got Mumbles, the new and improved Mumbles.